All right, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to start another project. My granddaughter is here, one of my granddaughters. Not the one that requested the 5 pink rings, but the one that's slightly older than her. And she has now requested, she saw the 5 pink rings and decided that that was a pretty cool deal. And she has now requested 5 pink rings. But we're going to start, she picked out 1 stone, so we're going to start with 1 ring. This is what she has picked out. This is a pink opal that I picked up at the local crystal shop here. So we're going to make the ring as if we had ordered a finding, and then we will shape the stone to fit the ring this time rather than fitting and making the ring to fit the stone. So enjoy. I've got some half round wire here. It's already been kind of coiled up. A little bit of wire to twist, and I've got a couple of beads that I've made and some bezel wire here. So we'll just go along this process. Enjoy. She's a size 3.5. Well, we measured her. Look at that. How lucky are we? That's close enough. Just gonna go ahead and cut this one. We know that we're going to need it in the future anyway, so as I just cut this one and solder it at the same time. Really need to get my bench pin installed and make that job so much easier. But anyhow, there's those. Put some magnifiers on so I can see. I just took some square wire that I had this morning and rolled this on my roller mill to make it a half round wire for this ring. Go ahead and file that one. It's got a little bit of a burr in it. Get that fit together just a little bit nicer. It'll be a better joint if we do that. All right, those 2 are ready to be soldered. Let's make a bezel. We're going to make this into an oval. This is the size of the ring. Remember, she's a pretty little girl still, so let's go with like a size 12 oval. So let's try a different profile for the oval. That fits my oval mandrel a little bit better, so I think we'll go with that 7/16 oval. So I'm just gonna put my mandrel in here. I'm gonna take my Sharpie. And we're gonna bend the bezel to fit that right there. be the oval. Done with the bezel wire, put it away. Okay. And we'll use hard solder. So we'll get a little bit of that over here. Seems like pretty big pieces, so we'll go ahead and cut them down a little. Okay, go ahead and flux these. Start to warm them up a little bit. And this back side. And we'll go ahead and pick some solder. Do some work on that one. Stick everything to one side, so. Okay, those two tuck. This one I need to reshape it. A little stress in it, and when I heat it, it relaxed. And then I heated one side too much. I know exactly what I did. So let's go ahead and take another piece. There she goes. That looks good. So, got them all soldered. Throw them in a pickle bath for a second. That'll help cool them off so we can work on them quicker. I'm not too worried about their annealment right now. now we need to get them cleaned up, ready for the next steps. And that includes a little bit of file work, so I got a half round file here. We're gonna clean this up. I got a little bit of fire scale. I got this one a little bit hot, so we're just gonna file that off. Clean it up so that it's what I want it to be. Now, before we solder a bezel to it, and it's a little more difficult to get to. And hand filing is just about as quick as it is for me to get out my rotary tool to that time I put the bit in there that I wanted and changed it to another one, it'd be done. So okay, so here's the solder joint. We're going to go ahead and clean up the excess solder off the outside. And flatten that edge. And then there's a little bit on the inside, and I want to get this out before I throw this thing on a ring mandrel to shape it. Alright, this one we didn't overheat, so that's good. So, but it's got that solder on the outside. And we want to get the solder out of the inside of it. This is a really fine file, so not taking off very much very fast. I don't want an aggressive file. I don't want to just all of a sudden be halfway through that silver before I realize it. So, okay, now same thing with this bezel. And we've got a lot more solder on this outside edge. So I'm going to remove the solder off the inside first. This is kind of a small little piece to hold. Then when I'm done with the solder on the inside, then I'll work on the outside. Just a little bit more in there. Okay, so now I can take my oval bezel and I can take my little hammer and we can make sure that it's shaped right where I want it to be. Okay, she's fitting tight there. Turn it over. Still fitting tight, yep. Okay, now there's my solder joint, and it's flowed from there to there, and there's the joint. So we've got to remove that solder. So with it on the bezel, all right, sorry about that. We missed just a little bit. My camera storage space is full. We had to delete some things to make some room to continue. Anyway, we'll continue on. I've gone ahead and cut a back plate for this bezel. It's going to sit on there now. I do need to stamp it before we move on, so I'm going to stamp this thing with sterling silver stamp. I'm ready to have this back plate, this bezel. Go ahead and do that. Okay. Looks like we flowed all the way around. So let's pull it off. I made a couple of beads. They may be a little much for this size-wise. This is some medium solder that I've got here. It'll take a bit of this, but that's all right. We'll heat this up. A lot of mass in those silver balls there, so there we're starting to go. But I know we're not flowed to the bottom just yet, so we need to heat this back plate a little bit. Get it to flow down. There we go. Now we're flowed all the way around those. ball vise here. We're going to make some twist wire. Drill makes a real nice, quick way to do this, but this will work too. Actually, this wire feels a little bit tough. I'm going to nail it to make it just a little bit easier. So it'll actually take a bit of solder because it's going to pull it up all the way in through all that twisted wire too. So gonna use a medium again. All right, let's pickle that so I can see there's so much flux and stuff around it. I can't tell where that solder flowed. If it's flowed all the way around, if it hasn't, we'll resolder it. If it has, great, then we're ready to move on. While we're pickling that, let's go ahead and shape these rings. One of these rings here, you can tell they're not. We're going for 3.5. It looks like that's right where it's going to end up. Just a whisker over 3.5. So if we need to anything different, we can. Flat. All right, now let's just make a spot for that to sit on the bezel. I like this tool for this. We got a solder joint right there. We're just going to go ahead and put that solder joint right to the top. Leaves my ring free to be resized later as she grows, assuming that she doesn't lose it before. Anyway, so we're just going to file just a little flat. It's just going to help us. It'll help that ring sit and not want to roll around as much. You can tell it's not a very large flat spot. It's just a little bit. Only thing I don't like is that sticks up a little bit right there, but I think that'll take care of that. Okay, it looks like we are soldered in place. All right, let's trim this up. I'm just going to use my scissors to trim off this excess. Okay, so there's that. Set this ring on here. We're about there. Go ahead and in. This time we'll use some soft solder. Okay, let's let that thing pickle for a little while, and we'll come back when it's done and start see what we think about it. Throw it in the tumbler for a couple of hours, polish it, and if we like it, then we can start shaping a ring, or not shaping a ring, but shaping the stone to fit in the middle of it. So I'll see you back here shortly. Alright, we've pulled it out of the tumbler. I've thrown it into some water with some of this patina gel in it. We're going to let it sit in that water for, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes. Put some patina on it, then we'll pull it out, polish up the parts that I want to be shiny, leave the rest dark and antiqued. Then we'll be ready to cut the stone and set it into the ring. Let's see where we're at. Okay, let's polish this thing. Alright, that's it for the hand polishing. Let's go through it in the ultrasonic cleaner, get all that grit and grime out of it, and we can get a stone set for it. I've got chunked off a chunk of this thing. Let's make sure that we're still looking at something pretty close to that 7/16 there. So plenty of room on this piece. Got some thickness on the one edge of it, so we'll maybe trim it up a little bit, save some of the rest of it for another little stone. So I'm going to go trim it, throw this thing in the ultrasonic. I'll be right back. Alright, here the ultrasonic cleaner running in the background. I've trimmed this stone up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and put it on a dop. A little too small for me to shape without a dop, so this thing prepped and ready to go. Okay, we're going to go ahead and let that set for, I don't know, 20-30 minutes. Get that wax cooled off and set up, and then we'll be ready to start shaping the stone. Okay, we're ready to roll. We'll go ahead and top this thing a little bit. See what we're looking at. Sure it's pink all the way through, no question. I'll make sure there's no voids or anything in it. We do have plenty more if we are